Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, and all that sort of business. David Addison, get out, you cheeky bugger. I can see what you're writing in the comments. I've been watching these comments go down, and I'll tell you what, we are on time. We are on time right now. It's 6 o'clock in the morning here. It's the same time that I do it every time. Scott Baker way back there, you saying blah late again. I saw that while I was sitting there chatting to some other folks, but Shane's late as usual. We should unsubscribe. Look at this bloke. He does one podcast with a guest, and all of a sudden he thinks he's a YouTube guy again. Good on you, Dave. Good to see you, man. Really is good to see you. Who else? We've got a lot of people in here. David Dewey. Anyway, what's this about? Should we unsubscribe? Should we subscribe to? Why subscribe to his channel? He doesn't do anything there anymore. He quit. He's a quitter. He better be laughing, or else I'm probably going to have to say sorry about that later. Geez, you keep going and going and going. It's not late. It's on time. The rest of the world has changed. That's all. The rest of the world has changed. We changed our daylight savings, I reckon, two live streams ago. So this is the same time as it's always been. You'll never work for NASA. Good on you. Petrika, good morning to you, sir. Lots of people talking. It just seems to be that Shane's running late. Bless you all. Hey, there. Look at this bloke. That's right. Is that who we got here? That's a new name I haven't seen. I love your videos. Wanted to ask a very important question. If you or anybody in the comment, go ahead and ask, mate. Nothing is off limits here. If it is, I just don't answer it. Come on, Dave. You'll be all right. Don't cry. How is Mojo? I think you went there. Anyway, from Birmingham. Do they set the clocks back an hour over there, Shane? Normally it's 2 or 8 o'clock here. When it's 6 o'clock, it did. The times changed here. I reckon it was. If it wasn't one live stream ago, it was one before that. So I've definitely done it this time frame before. Certainly the last one when I was in Canberra, yeah, we had changed the times then for sure. Absolutely. Want to see if anyone has a good app to check clear sky at night, because I've seen having issues. Any weather app. It depends on where you are in the world, but some of the weather apps that we have here are hit and miss. One of the guys that I do work with, I think there's like 3 or 4 of us, 3 or 4 different apps that we play with there. So what's the weather doing? When do we go and do this on the farm? Because it might rain, but this app says it is going to rain. This app says it's not going to rain. Then this one here says we're in drought. So who knows? You just got to find a reliable app. The one that I use here in Australia is from the Bureau of Meteorology, and I find that to be reasonably accurate. But it's really only going to be about rain for the apps that I play with anyway. Actually, I'm not sure if Ralph Mayhew is in here, because I think he had an app on his channel one time a little while ago, what the apps that he uses, and one of them was a cloud app, as in how much cloud cover. It might be worth checking that one out. So it is, what's today? It's the 14th of May. Yeah, 14th of May. The weather here has been crap for the last like 2 weeks, maybe going on 3 weeks. When I say crap, I mean it's cloudy. I've had probably even longer than that, actually. It's probably been like a month. I teach at a local photography group here in my town, and we put off, last week we did it, and the time before that we put it off because it was too much cloud. Whereas this time we went out there and shot some light painting stuff. We had a little bit of stars in amongst the cloud, but nothing too much. You may have seen there's been a little Friday the 13th still. That's because you're somewhere else. You know, in this part of the world, we're leading the world into the timeline. Remember that? What was that? The Millennium Bug. Remember that in like 1999? When the world was like, the whole world's going to fall over when the clocks tick over at midnight tonight. Everyone watched Australia and New Zealand to see if we just melted into nothingness, and what an anticlimactical thing that was. So you would have seen an easing of the videos on the channel. It's 2 reasons, really. One is I'm just dead set busy, and which is not usually that much of a problem, but the Mac that I've been using, he's probably 10 years old, I reckon. It's old, and I'm probably not that old, probably 8 years old, and it's just, well, it was just dying in the tooth. It was a struggle to do any sort of editing and stuff. So I went out I ended up ordering a Mac off Apple's website, 5 to 7 days delivery. I ordered that on the 14th of March, and then I got an update saying, hey, your Mac is due in it was 3 weeks. And then last week, well, when I was in Canberra, I got another email saying your Mac is now due on the 27th, between the 27th of June and the 5th of July. And I went, sod this, I'm out of here. I cancelled the order. I started ringing around different like box stores like JB Hi-Fi and Harvey Norman. For those who don't know, they're the places that sell like electronics and furniture and that sort of stuff. Is anyone else listening to or just reading the comments? No one listens to me. You all just come here for the comments. I just jibber jabber for half hour or so, and that's it. But I ended up going to Harvey Norman, and I got a not listening NGL. I don't know if that's something English that you're saying. NGL. I don't know. I'll just jibber jabber, mate. You come here, I jibber jabber. That's what we do. That's the relationship that we have. So I bought a Mac Studio, and this thing's a friggin' beast. It's doing everything I throw at it, and then some. I couldn't bring myself to spend money on, what was it, nearly $3,000. It was almost the same amount of money to buy the Studio as the monitor that comes with the Studio. I ended up buying, can you see it there? That one there. That's what there's the Studio way down under there. So it's nice and small, but the screen that I'm using is a Samsung some bloody thing. I'll end up getting it and putting it in the comments after this. That the guys at a computer shop that I went to find a monitor, because I just couldn't spend $2,500 to $3,000 on a monitor. This works perfectly, and the guys in the not gonna lie, right? I'm not up with your hip jive, man. I thought it was just an English thing that you're doing, but it didn't sound like you were complaining, so I wasn't sure. So anyway, got that. You should start seeing some videos coming along to the same sort of speed that we did before, now that I can edit a video again in an hour or two. Before it was taking me nearly all day, because I'd sit there and just wait for the wheel to spin until it rendered what it needed to render. The only bad thing about this is the sound. The sound out of this Mac Studio is shithouse. It's bloody terrible. So if you listen to music and stuff while you're working, and you're going to get one of these things, you're going to be wearing these things all day, or buy yourself some speakers, because otherwise this thing's just shit when it comes to sound. There's been a few developments on the channel. I won't tell you specifically what they are just yet, but I've actually got a few sponsors coming on, which is, from a YouTuber's point of view, that's kind of big. It means that people are recognizing what we're doing here, and they're saying, hey, we want to run some ads on your videos, as in get me to talk about a product that they sell or have to push to you guys. And that's a big thing, in that it's not just ad revenue that I'm getting here. It's not just affiliate monies that I get here. It's now sponsorship monies. That's fantastic. It's a way to keep growing the channel and hopefully bring you some more stuff to show you what I do here. Anyway, what else have we got here? We've got a question here. Am I doing the whole live stream alone? No, I'm not. I'm not doing the whole live stream alone. In fact, I'll bring people on here right now. I honestly thought that I said who was coming on here when I did the thumbnails and stuff. Australia, hold on, there's a heap of comments here that I'm missing. So you just have to hold on, you two there, sitting there waiting for me, down the bottom there. I can see you. Australia is the that's us, mate. Chirp, chirp. Oh, that was Devo. How are you, mate? You must have been putting that comment on Facebook, because I couldn't see who it was. There was something else. What's this? Patricia, an app that tells you when it rains in Australia. It sends you 2 notifications. Well, that's where I am. In saying that, the last couple of weeks has just been shithouse. When I go do work on the farm, I'm just like, got to be careful who I say this, because David Addison's here and he'll just take the piss. I'm wearing rain clothes. It's not that I'm covered in rubber, but I'm wearing like raincoat, top, bottom. It's just muddy as hell out there. It's just horrid. Mike Goyne, how you doing, man? You are going to be like Joe for photography. I need to start smoking cigars here at 6 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, let's wait a minute. What's the app that you mentioned in the thumbnail? We'll talk about that right now. Let's bring these two people on. Did that work? It did work. Josh and Salvo, how are you, boys?
Hi, Shane.
I see it looks like Salvo's just
Thanks a lot. Thanks for asking.
Salvo's having some minor connection.
Josh.
So for those who don't know who these guys are, we haven't actually rehearsed any of this. We don't know who's going to do what talking when. So you tell us, who are you?
Yeah, I will take it down.
I'm just...
Go for it, Josh.
Yeah, maybe like before we start, just to check, I believe it's worth checking that. I believe Salvo has some connection issues, so maybe worth checking. Seems like it's solved now.
I don't know. I can see you and hear you.
Yeah, it looks like it's just a slower connection for you, mate. Salvatore has Italian internet.
Yeah, actually not.
No, that's okay. We could certainly move on with it.
Salvo did,
go for it, Josh. Who are you guys?
Yeah, I was just saying that Salvo did lately relocate to Copenhagen for his new job assignment, and I believe he doesn't have the most optimal setup at the moment with connection, but the magic is still happening. I think we're gonna share some updates later today. So yeah, anyhow, thanks
for those who don't know who these people are, these guys are two of the team of three. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Of Reflex. So Josh is the person that I talk to when I want to see like how things are running and the sort of things that they're potentially doing. And Salvo is like the brains of this organization. He's the one who just look at that connection now, Salvo. I can see you perfectly clear now. Unless he's just frozen there. He might have just frozen.
I did switch connection. Maybe now it gets better.
Okay.
I think it's better.
It is better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is better. So these are two of the guys from the team of three of Reflex Pro Camera app, the lenses, all that stuff. We'll talk to these guys about the apps or the app that they've made. We'll talk about what they've got coming up. We'll talk about Mojo, perhaps, because you guys went over there. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just got back yesterday evening. We went with Mattia, so the third, let's say, founder of Reflex, and we spent 2 days there in London and flew back in the evening. So it was quite interesting. Somehow like a very specific event focused on media production. So really like journalism, filmmaking, and really like quite impressive devices and all those like big brands like Red or Canon. And I was expecting a bit more like sort of like mobile photography brands and equipment, but indeed like it was worth like we did catch up, as we mentioned, with David. That was very pleasant finally after
you can tell everyone what you told me earlier. Just because we're live now, you can tell everyone what you really thought.
Yeah, I just did mention like Dave, like you're in a really good shape, so I'm really proud and happy for you. I need to follow your.
He's a bit of a gym junkie now, is he?
It looks really like sharp, fresh, and I'm gonna follow his example as soon as we find the time to do some proper physical activity. Let's say.
Don't follow all of his examples.
You should do like Shane. I mean, for Shane, it's 6 a.m. and he's already up and fresh. So
I've been up for 2 hours.
2 hours? Oh my God!
It's only my third coffee.
At what time do you go to bed then?
Last night was about 9:45.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
It's impressive.
Embarrassing. I'd be embarrassed if I was you too, David. Fair dinkum. with a haircut like that. So Mojo was good. Tell us, you launched the app, the Reflex Pro Camera app. You launched that. It's probably a year and a half ago. Would that be about right?
It's about right. It's about 1 year and some months. I think we launched in February last year.
Yep.
So, but I mean the very first version was really basic. So we launched like quietly. We didn't advertise it, and we just wanted to see if things were going. And then we added more and more feature, and it became what is now maybe around the summer, let's say, where we. And then we launched the longest exposure mode. That is the one that really got us a bit more known. And this was February this year. So exactly after 1 year that we launched the first version.
Yep. And the lenses came out roughly at the same time, maybe a little bit after that?
Really at the same time, I would say. We launched both things at the same time. So it was very busy beginning of the year. Fair
enough, mate. Fair enough. Yeah. For those who are watching here, I'm looking through the names of the people in the list here, and I'm going to say there's probably 2/3 of these folks that are watching this right now are iPhone users, and the others are Android users. And I know, and I'm going to just ask this because I know that somebody will ask this before this live stream is over. Are there any plans for Android?
So Android is always like on the back of our head, or like, how do you say? So we always like there, like in making the decision to fully commit to it or not. The issue is, so we have two things, right? One is hardware and the other one is software. The thing is, when you say iOS, then you say iPhone. So the hardware and the software are really the same, or at least there is a really strong connection. When you say Android, and then it comes, I don't know, 100 different models, or I don't have the numbers, but many. And this is now giving difficulties for software, for an app like ours that really uses the hardware. So we really go into the sensor, right? The sensor and the lens and the system together. Then in this particular setup, how do I make sure that I have everything right on every model? So it's quite challenging, I would say. And also the investment that I should do. Then I should buy 100 phones, and it just explodes, right? If you would do an app that doesn't really go deep into the hardware, then then maybe you can do it. But for a camera app, I would say it's quite challenging. And for the hardware wise, it's slightly easier. So hardware wise, and when I say that it's our lenses, then it's slightly easier, and this might come quite soon. We just want to make sure that everything works, and not start selling without testing it, at least on the most common models, and that we are sure that it works. But for software, I think it will come much later because of the that I just said.
I think that's the same with everybody, and I say this every time that I talk about an iOS specific, an iPhone specific app, and it's a ripper app that people that have the Androids want to be able to replicate the sort of shots that we can take there. It's exactly as you say. Every year, Apple puts out, say, 4 phones. They're all very, 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 very similar. And each year, Androids, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of phones. So it's so much more work. You just can't do it unless it's like you say. It's like a basic sort of thing. It's when you're integrating both of them. It's virtually impossible. I'm curious as to how many people who are here watching this right now actually use this app. I'd like to know while we're in here. Because it would be pretty embarrassing if we were to sit here and talk about Reflex and there's like 2 people here that use it. And I'm one of them.
And one is David.
That was David. That's right.
At least he knows.
You're Italian. Where are you at? Where are you, Josh?
I think it would be good to clarify so that question from Petrica. I'm not sure if I can pronounce that well, but we're basically all Italian, and we're currently scattered across Europe. So myself, I'm based in Basel, where the Reflex company is incorporated, and actually Salvo used to live here, basically like an hour away, closer to Zurich, and that's basically where the whole project started, like mid of 2020. So, and then we have Mattia, so the design and product development, let's say, responsible person. The third co-founder is based in our hometown, which is like 60 kilometers south from Rome on the coast.
Yep.
We actually have a nice photo we took some time ago from that area. We can show that later on.
That's in the photos that you sent to me?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Sweet. I'm learning to use it. Not yet, just got 13 Pro, looking for an app. This is when I tell people about this app, when people ask me on different groups and stuff, and people in town ask me about different apps that I use to take photos, I would say that this is the app that does everything almost. It doesn't do everything, but it does almost everything. It does almost everything that I want it to do. It's a funny thing for those who well, actually no one in here besides the three of us and Maddie is even knowing what I'm about to say. There's so many things that I send to these guys. Say, this is an awesome idea. You should put this in the app. This is an awesome idea. You should put this in the app. And I'm sure that every time that Salvo's little WhatsApp thing goes off and he sees it's from me, I'm sure he just shakes his head and say, go away. You're making me busy.
Yeah. I mean,
Josh, have you... Sorry, mate, go.
No, I just
my
wanted
connection was dropping. I just said that the connection was dropping. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
But I was nodding because I got some sleep. I saw David's comment and I got some sleep, some proper sleep finally today.
You've been out partying with the Englishman, have you?
Yeah, we went out with David and Mattia for a little party night in London.
Yeah, right.
We didn't have much time, unfortunately.
Yep. It's a business trip.
Mm-hmm.
It's a business trip. Absolutely.
One of the first.
Italian colleagues everywhere. So this app will take... Well, actually, what we'll do, we'll have a look at those photos.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have it... Normally, so regular watchers, viewers, people who join the live stream and watch what I do here, you'll see that I haven't actually asked the questions that I normally ask about, like who you are in a tweet and that sort of stuff, because there's two people here and it could get confusing. And I normally have 2 or 3 photos to show you guys that the guest will put on to the stream. And I think we've got... So I asked these guys, can you send me a couple of photos? And we did. I've got 14 of them. And as I was loading them into the software that I use for the stream, I thought I'm only going to put in 2 or 3 of these. And as I'm putting them in, I'm like, I can't decide which ones I want to add in here. So you're going to see all of them because it's absolutely worth all of them. Let's bring it in here. We'll see how this looks. Oh, that looks fun. Now, what I'll do, I don't know if you've got this in front of you or not, Josh, as in who took what.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? This one is Andy Green's, I think.
It is.
Is this one of the winning photos?
This is the photo that actually won the slow shutter contest we held last month, I believe. It's pretty cool, I believe, from south west UK. I believe Andy's located there. Like really, really cool shot. So
and this is for those who don't know who Andy is. He's shooting, I believe, on an iPhone 7.
Yeah,
is that right? So to see something that is as old as an iPhone 7 winning a competition where people are competing with the ducks nuts of phones that are out there at the moment, that's pretty bloody cool. It tells you, when I did the live stream 2 weeks ago, there was something said in there, and it was about the best tools that you have is the storytelling and the emotion that's there. It's not necessarily the camera gear that you have, and this photo really speaks to that. It's the phone, the hardware that you're playing with is here nor there, but to get that sort of shot out of a phone from an iPhone 7 is just bloody amazing. The app has just done a ripper job there. You guys have anything to add to that?
I was surprised on how good I mean, this is only one of the photos that Andy it won, but also many other of his photos were all super good. And again, the app, the slow shutter part of the app is quite demanding on computational wise. So I was surprised that it works, but mostly on that. Also on an iPhone 7, you can get really good results.
Yeah, definitely. Let's have a look at the next one. Oh, this looks, all this red, this warm color tells me this was taken by a bloke with red hair. I miss you, Dave. Haven't spoken to you for a while. I have to get you on this live stream just so I can take the piss out of each other for half hour. This is a ripper shot. Every time I see this shot of his, I think that's an awesome shot. Yeah. What do you guys think of it? Obviously you do, because it wouldn't be in here, but speak to the photo, please.
Yeah, I think this was one of the first motion blur shot that was taken. As soon as we had the fully functioning slow shutter modes, where we had that sort of little challenge on the motion blur, then you, David, and some other users have been somehow testing the final version of the 1.4, and this was one of the very early shots that David took, and really impressive in general. I just really like the composition, the colors, and
it's a ripper shot. Even though I take the piss out of the guy all the time, he's a bloody good photographer. This was a test shot. Get this off the screen. Oh, come on. He's such a positive influence, isn't he? He's so positive. It's a ripper shot. The very first time I saw this, I think was when I first started. It might have even been before I started playing with it. But I remember seeing this shot and I thought, this is awesome. I absolutely love it. The long exposure stuff from an iPhone, obviously, I really enjoy doing it. And this was one of the first photos that I saw that I thought, ripper, let's carry on with this. Who we got next? Hey, the bloody Legends photo.
You should recognize this one.
I do recognize this one.
Yeah.
You go ahead and speak to the photo.
Yeah, I mean, we're also really pleased on seeing this, because again, also this one was done at the very beginning. So it was, I think it was still test flight. It was still a beta at the moment. And as you can imagine, it's very difficult to get these shots. You need to have a clear sky and spend lots of hours. So at that time, we didn't do it ourselves. It was just, the beta was just released, and we were super pleased that you could get this kind of cool start rates. So I think these two shots for us were quite emotional. I mean, they're really good, but also they were like the confirmation. Okay, we did something that works. We did something that people can use, and it's worth it. So this is why also we put it there. Yeah,
fair enough. This was, I've got a feeling, looking at the length of those stars, I reckon this is probably 2 hours worth of photo. And this one here, I get why you put it in there, because it's confirmed to you that, hey, this is actually going to do something cool. We're onto something here. But the other photo that I put up, I reckon I probably did send it to you guys, and it had a shooting star in it. And this is that light that's there. That's actually just a big floodlight on a farm next door neighbor. But and the rest of those things are planes and a couple of meteors. But the other one with the shooting star, it's a ripper photo. And I've cleaned it up a bit with what was it? Touch retouch. It was such an easy tool to get rid of the shooting stars. And geez, it's a ripper photo from a phone. It's an amazing photo. It's the same principle as what we've got going on here. I don't know if David is a photographer in a soul. I didn't realize that's what it said. Sorry, Dave. That's the live streaming. Even if the Earth would rotate like that, there wouldn't be enough. Wait, hold on. How can the stars right? No, you need to watch. My light trail videos. I explain exactly how to do that. It's you guys in the northern hemisphere, you need to find that northern star. Point your camera towards the northern star. Leave the shutter open for. Now I reckon you use an Android phone, so you probably want to use that intervalometer app and the Star Trails app, and you're going to get something similar to what I've got going on here. Just point your camera towards the northern star, and this is what you're going to get. Something very, very similar. May not have a soul, but
that's cool.
Is she sitting next to you, Dave? Let's look at the next photo.
Oh,
I like that. Where's this taken?
So that's the one I mentioned earlier. So basically, this place is really near to the town where we've been growing up, the three of us. Actually, just to share some background, myself and Salvo used to go to the same high school. Then we did our bachelor studies together, and we have like a really long-lasting like friendship, like probably like 15 years more. And we are basically more or less from that area, from where the picture was taken. It's a small town called Latina, 60 kilometers south from Rome. We're all from that area. And this picture was taken by Luca Gambioli. It's one of the collaborators we work with in that area. We do have collaborators across the world somehow. Not that many still, but yeah. And
it's the quality, not the quantity.
Exactly.
And it's a really cool area, like very great area for like nature sort of photography. And there's several like lakes in that area, and this sort of like promontory has quite some history behind. We did post something like the other day on Instagram, and a bit of story behind this place. It's kind of connected to the Odyssey, Ulysses, and it's quite interesting. A really cool spot to visit.
So the lake that you see, it's a salty lake. It's a special kind of lake, and it's connected to the sea. So it's connected to the sea underground, and it's typical. It's typical of the area where we grew up.
Yep.
And the mountain that you see there, let's call it a mountain. So just as a curiosity, the legend says that it's the mountain where the witch that this Circe witch from the Odyssey, from the very old legend from the Greeks. I don't know if you know it.
Right.
Yeah. And if you actually see it, it looks like a profile of a human. You see the nose, and you need a bit of imagination. We just grew up.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So then the legend says that when Odysseus left the witch, she was so sad that she transformed herself in this mountain, and that's why you see the profile.
Yeah, right. But I think looking at it's obviously a ripper photo. Every person that's watching this right now that takes long exposure photography says that little float there, we should take that out. That little float in the foreground, about halfway into the frame. It looks like a crab pot or something. I don't know. Do you have crab pots? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think it's because they do canoeing on this kayaking sport.
Yeah.
So I think
it's a line of them.
I think it could be a line. Yeah. I didn't take the picture, but they're always there. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a line.
I used to.
I'm talking about with Photoshop or touch retouch.
Yeah. You can remove it. Yeah.
That area.
Let's look at the next one.
I was mentioning that area. You have the Naval Academy area. So I used to do.
Okay. Yep.
There's people doing like rowing. I used to do rowing as well in that lake. So there is some of those in there.
Only after he said that there was rowing going on there that I could see that actually is a line of those dots, those floats. Jeez. Where is this? This is awesome.
That was shot in France. It's from Germain Pivito, if I can pronounce that well. So it's a French photographer we collaborate with, and he's sort of like really specialized. He does some really impressive, like long exposure photography, most of all, but also like landscape, and it's really impressive. So I believe like just the colors, the composition, just it's really, it has that sort of like magic feeling into it. And I'm looking forward to see more of those from him. He's like kind of busy, but he's a really like good photographer when it comes to long exposure. I was really impressed with this one.
Definitely. This is one of yours, isn't it? This is on your website. I've seen it. I'm sure I have.
Yes.
That's one of the first, I would say, test light trails shot we took. It was in a garage near to Mattia's place in our hometown. And we're just having fun with some RGB lights. And this is one of those also emotional shots that kind of like represents the launch of the 1.4 with the slow shutters. And we were really impressed, when we started seeing like what you can really like create, because at the end it's really like about creativity. And we actually have several of those shots with different sort of lights and shapes. And it's crazy what you can do with sort of like light painting.
It is. My light painting started with the Olympus live composition mode, and some of the photos I've taken were just spectacular. It's such a good tool to do light painting with, especially when you're making patterns like this. And so I'll tell you that there's a photo. It's probably on my Instagram somewhere where there's a church. It's nighttime. It's church, and there's a ball of light or an orb of light in the front of it. And I did that with an Olympus, and I took the photo. This is how it works. I took you open the shutter basically. This is all computational in a mirrorless camera. You open the shutter, go and spin that orb, because you don't always get them perfect. They can be oblonged or whatever. So I've spun that, walked around, had a look at the back of the camera, and gone, no, that's not good enough. Stop it. Start it again. Go and spin the ball. That's good. Now I want to light up the church. In the same frame, then I'll just get a torch and like paint up there, go back, look at the camera. I need some more up here. Go over here, paint that, come back, and keep on doing it and doing it and doing it until such point that you're happy with how much light you have there. It's so much fun to do. In fact, I did it. I don't know if you guys saw it. I went up to Deniliquin about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, to take photos of this plane that it's the first one here in Australia. Not mobile stuff. He's a web client of mine, and a celebrity came up here, a local celebrity, she's pretty much a national celebrity here. She came up to do a talk, and I had to take photos of her with the plane. But whilst I was waiting for her, so they landed. She was running a bit late, so they landed. She got shuttled off to do her talk, and myself and the two pilots were just sitting there twiddling our thumbs for probably an hour or so. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to see what I can do with this plane with this Reflex app. And that's exactly how I did it. I set it up so the plane sat there, used a long exposure, the light trails, long exposure mode, and then hit that wing with a bit of torchlight. Went back, had a look. That's good. Over here onto the fuselage. That's good. And need a bit more over here. And it was so simple to use. It was very Olympus-esque in the way that you could use it. It was. I'll definitely do a video, not so much with the plane. Actually, I recorded the screen and how I did it and put it on Facebook. But there's definitely potential there in doing this sort of work, what we're looking at right here with this app. You don't need much to do it, and you can get some it's so much fun to do. It's one of my most fun things to do when I'm out there at nighttime when the clouds come over. It's good. I really enjoy it. Let's move on to the next photo. This has to be with your macro lenses, surely.
Yeah. So that's from
Greg McMillan's not in here this morning. It would have been good to have him on the chat. He's got a family thing going on at the moment. But please go on, talk about this photo.
Yeah, this one is from Voje Golubic. Is based in Croatia. He's one of the photographers we work with, and he does some really impressive photography as well in the post-edit part process. Let's say this one was shot with the Macro 10X, and yeah, it has really like impressive colors. There's actually like plenty he's taken, and we just picked a couple of those that really are representative of the sort of like performance results you can achieve.
Yep. I'm probably going to shoot a video very shortly with the iPhone 13 Pro with its macro mode versus having this lens on the front, and seeing what sort of difference we can get. Because I've seen the difference, but I'm not sure how widely known that is. It's worth knowing that it's definitely better with a lens on the front for sure. This is I don't know how much of these live streams that you guys watch, but and how active you are in that in the Facebook group that we have. But every month at the full moon, you can tell all the Samsung users, because all of a sudden there's all these moon photos all over Facebook.
Yes.
And then when the iPhone came out, this was the iPhone's solution to their moon photos. It was like all of a sudden we're doing iPhotos versus moon photos, and it was a theme for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I follow that group quite often. Yeah, and personally, I look at these moon shots, and they're from the Samsung, and they look really cool.
Yeah.
So cool that I did some research. At the beginning, I thought they're cheating. At the beginning, I thought, okay, there is some AI that recognizes the moon and puts a texture on it. And I think instead now it's still a lot of computational.
Definitely,
there's a lot of computation that is not fully optical, but at least it's not just putting a texture on an object that you find in the sky.
There was a video with the Huawei phones. Patricia might be able to tell us. It was one of the older Huawei phones where they first did the moon thing, and then somebody made it the moon appear on a ping pong ball, on a cloth.
Yes.
Busted.
Exactly. I think what the Samsung is doing is, okay, they have good optics, but it's doing some clever upscaling of the. It's like a clever zoom. It's a digital zoom, but it's not. It's a digital zoom, but it's not simple as you do it with an iPhone, where you lose quality. It's just some clever AI that upscales it, preserving the quality, but it's still computational, so maybe it can fade. Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things with phone photography, though. It's the computational aspect of it is what makes most things that we do achievable.
Yes.
Without it, we'd be taking some pretty shithouse photos if it wasn't for that. For people like you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's have a look at the next one.
This.
Who is this? I reckon I follow this guy on Instagram. He's in Tokyo, right?
Yeah, Yosuke.
Gun photographer.
I'm not sure. Yeah, if I pronounce that correctly, but Yosuke, he's based in Tokyo, and he does some crazy cyberpunk style photography.
Yeah,
I'm really into as a style, like the colors and that urban feeling. And this was captured with the fisheye 210 degrees lens from our Pro series, and there's actually a couple more, and we just lately started like kind of working a bit together with him, and he does some really impressive photography.
You see, now when we've spoken about me coming to meet up with you guys at some point, it's such a difficult thing to fathom because you're so far away. But he's not. He's only he's only just over the road from me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think I might need to reach out to him and say g'day. Might even get him on here. But I follow him on Instagram. When it was because of you guys I found him. I saw something that you guys shared or you liked it or something on Instagram, and then I started looking through his feed. I thought, holy shit, this guy's amazing.
Yeah.
The photos that because I know all these places, my wife and I have been here a few times. It's such an awesome place, and only since I started getting into this sort of photography and the YouTube channel that I've been itching to get back to Tokyo to do this sort of stuff, because it's just made for it. It's bloody impressive.
Yeah.
When I looked at all the lenses that you guys push out, and I go, well, the macro I definitely would use the two macros, and then the wide and the fisheye is what I use, and with the stuff that I do. And then I never thought about using the wide angle, like the fisheye, in situations like this. It's a bit of an eye opener for me how versatile this is. Like, you look at the range, the dynamic range that's in this, and it's bloody impressive. It really is.
Yeah.
There's 7-Elevens in there over on the side there. It's just it's a ripper place, ripper photo. And why not your favorite photographer anymore? See, now Patrika, he's a Huawei user. We won't spit on him, but he is a Huawei user. But he takes some amazing photos. And Huawei, as you probably know, all the stuff that I do, that anyone does with all these long exposure apps and things like that, well, the Huawei camera just does it. And it does it out of the box. And it does it incredibly well. And he takes some bloody good photos. Okay? If you're not following him on Instagram, it's probably worth doing. But this Tokyo photo, I just love it. It's a ripper photo. What I'll do, I'll see if I can find him. I'm going to sort out my screen, so I'm not sharing too much. And by the end of this here, I'll get up his Instagram so we can see it, which he does a bloody good job.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's look at the next photo.
That's from Switzerland, basically. I believe it's somewhere in the nearby from, like, it should be like in Grindelwald, like a very popular area for like skiing and resorts. And this was captured by Daniel Schifferli, and that should have been taken with a telephoto.
Daniel who?
Sorry?
What was his name?
Daniel Schifferli, SCH.
Okay. I thought you said Daniel Schiffer. I thought he's a YouTuber. Different person.
No, different person.
Yep. So this is with the telephoto lens?
Yeah. Exactly. So, like, he took quite a few of those really impressive, like, sunsets photos. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, you should come over one day, Shane, to do some, it's like, I know it's quite a long way, but
it's a long way.
It is.
It's a long way. So I've got to wait till I get a lot more of these sponsored deals, and then I might be able to afford to do that. This one, go for it.
This one was taken by Laurie Bouchard in Tokyo, I believe, as well. He's based there, and we lately started, like, also sort of like collaborating a bit together. And this was captured with the wide 80mm lens, the wide angle lens. And I love these black and white urban street photography, and we really wanted to see what he could kind of pull off, using the lenses and the app. And like, I really love his style. He did win the Mobiography Award last year. This competition.
I was going to say, this looks like it's from that magazine.
Yeah.
I think I've seen this before. Yeah, that would be why. Yeah, cool. It's a ripper photo. How many more we got? Dude, we're going through a few. Ooh. This is your longer zoom. I can't think of the wording. It escapes me.
Yeah, that's from the long range macro, the 75mm. And this is from Croatia, and it's one more from Voje. And he does some really great macro photography. Like, I still cannot kind of figure out how people can get so close and without letting the animals and insects like fly away. But But yeah, that's quite impressive.
I think when it comes to this sort of photo, the longer that you're there, the less interested they are in you.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go to a garden and see a few bees around, every time you go near a bee, it's going to piss off. But the longer you sit there, patience is key for this sort of photo. The longer you're there, the less inclined they are to run away when you get a little bit closer. This here looks like one of Patrica's photos. This is the sort of photos that this guy takes. But it's not, because he's got a Huawei. Who took this one?
This one is one more from Voye. Like, this was captured with the anamorphic lens, actually. It should be like, you can see it's kind of like stretched, kind of ultra wide with the 16:9 ratio, and it was taken with the anamorphic and the motion blur mode of Reeflex Pro Camera. So it's quite impressive by how you can combine, the use of the Pro series lenses and also the different functionalities of the slow shutter modes. So
I would not have thought in a million years to use anamorphic like this. It makes sense.
Yeah,
I've had a few people ask me about using it, and I'm like, oh, video. But this makes sense. I like that. How do they decompress it?
but I think Photoshop can do it for sure. Most likely, we're going to introduce the squeezing in the app as well. That's not that difficult.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, it should be fine.
Cool. We'll talk about things that you've got coming up shortly. This is the last photo, I think.
Yeah, I think this was just a standard wide camera from the phone, motion blur, and it's quite a just springish sort of photo from this season, and looks quite nice to me. There's obviously like plenty of photos that we wanted to select, as you know, but
we'll be here all day.
It would be weird. Like, I have to say, like, within a year we had almost like 500,000 shots taken with the app, so like it's quite impressive.
Yeah. So we're 500,000, did you say?
Yeah, close to.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. That's a lot of bloody photos.
Yeah.
How many? How many? What percentage wise? Can you tell how many of those are long exposure photos versus regular photos? Is that anywhere in your analytics that you can see that?
Yeah. It's there, but it approaches 20% now.
20% of the photos are long exposure photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
We did.
I mean, it can wobble a little bit, but it's around that number.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somehow after the introduction, the launch of the 1.4, we had a significant increase in the number of users. Also because the app went basically like free, and we have like a significant kind of user base on a daily basis, like talking about like 1,000. And then like basically since beginning of the year, we had like a massive increase, and we closed last year. I mean, it's nice to look at those metrics, like with Firebase and Google Analytics, we can basically look at all those information and see what's happening in the app. And we closed last year with 250,000 photos, and then we had this like huge spike now in this first half, and it's great to see what people can really like capture and create out of the tools that we provide. So you would be in a similar situation to myself, I guess, when I started the Facebook group. I did that because a few people wanted like an off YouTube platform to talk to each other and share photos and stuff. The thing that I enjoy the most about it is seeing all these people who are in the same little community. We're all like-minded people, and we are taking these photos, showing everyone your backyard, and it's so different to my backyard. That's what I enjoy about it. You see everything around the world, and that you didn't even have a clue that it was like this. Things that you walk past every single day. That I would look at and go, that's bloody amazing. Let's take a photo of that. And there's nothing there. And if you came here, you'd go, look at those cows. And I'd go, yeah, they're just bloody cows.
It's one of those things. I really enjoy that. So you guys would probably see that sort of thing as well.
Yes. Yeah. Another thing that that also happened to us was things that I mean, I made the app, right? I programmed it, I coded it, and then I see things that people do that I would not expect that the app was capable to doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen this shots from Greg, where he during the same exposure he changes lenses.
Yeah.
I mean, I would never on earth think that somebody would do that. And actually, I would consider it as a bug, because maybe I should have disabled the switching camera while the app is capturing. I didn't do it because I didn't think of it. And when
you see now, you're sitting there going, "That's a bug." Josh is sitting there going, "That's a feature."
Yeah. Yes. and that is like, you can do this amazing effect. And I mean, I don't know. He's shown me. He showed quite interesting results. Interesting photos. Maybe we'll get more popular. I don't know. I think now that he showed it, I can think of thousands of cases where you can really have some ghosting inside the image.
Absolutely.
How would you do it otherwise? And one other example was your galactic core. I think you made a video about it. I would never think.
I may have.
Yeah, you made.
I did actually. Yeah.
How to shoot the Milky Way with an older phone, was called, or something like that.
Yep.
And I would never expect to see the popping out like that.
Yep.
I thought, because the native camera app, that's more clever than just prolonging exposure. It's taking different exposure level, merging them, and then apply other computational tricks. That Reflex doesn't do. So that was also cool to see. That
Absolutely. I think with the older phones that don't have that night mode and the smaller sensors, to be able to manipulate it that way, it's cool. There's a couple of apps that I found now that do it. Yours is the only one that gives you the full flexibility with the manual control. It does it well. There's a question here about Reflex shipping to South Africa.
I think ship worldwide.
Worldwide.
The only issue is that obviously, like, shipping out of Italy, where we do have the warehouse, that means that like fees outside of Europe can be some a bit higher in cost, obviously, but we do ship basically worldwide.
Cool.
We do offer solutions for obviously, if you do bundle up to a certain amount order value, then we do provide free shipping as well.
This is the first time I've had someone on here who knows so much about programming. So I'm going to let you answer this.
No. So let's say AI is a part of computational, let's say. So computational is everything that it's manipulating data coming out straight of the sensor, right? So this can be just merging different frames at different exposure to do this fantastic HDR where you see everything in the shadow, everything in the highlights. That can be, but that's not AI. That's an algorithm that it's fixed. You know what to do, and it's the processor doing. AI is it's a new type of It's not that new, but it's a type of programming where you don't know the algorithm. It's the computer that learns how to do the task and then remembers it and then applies it. So computation is everything. AI is also computation.
That there, like I said before, that's been I use that term a lot, the game changer with photography, especially the low light stuff that I do. Without that computational photography, it's not possible.
No.
The flies are loving you again, Shay. This is, at the moment, it's cold. It's cold outside. So what happens at this time of year, you stop getting flies outside. but then there'll be like half a dozen flies that get inside the house.
Yes.
And these things, they are the most, when there's only like one or two of them, they're so bloody annoying. You can go outside and there's 50 of them in summer. It doesn't bother you that much. But when there's just one or two inside the house, your videos are very helpful. It's cool. Thank you. So what's in future for you guys? Where's Reflex going? What are you planning?
Yes, that's many things. So we have both software and hardware, right? So I mean, I can reply, Josh. Then you can add what I forget.
Go ahead. Of course.
So since we launched the Reflex app, there was this annoying thing that we didn't include a raw long exposure functionality. So I would say the very first thing coming out really soon is a raw long exposure feature, and most likely we will include it. We will do a self-standing app for that for many technical reasons. It was just too much convoluted to put everything in one app, because the technology to do that, it's a totally different. It's another world, let's say. The APIs are different. Everything is different, and it was getting too much crowded inside one code base. So that's coming up, I would say, very soon. And then I think I have a couple of ideas, but in general, in the long term, I would like also to complement fully the hardware, to get into video as well, to provide the same kind of flexibility and a bit more advanced features that they are in the photo app now, to put it in a video app. So maybe in this year there will come other couple of apps. But so one would be the raw long exposure. Maybe an option for we got really hooked with this long exposure. Now it's kind of a chapter that it's opened, and I want to close it. So to close it, raw long exposure as well, which is quite in an advanced state. And then I would like to also experiment a bit with handheld, so something that you can do without a tripod. I have a prototype that seemed promising, but it will take a bit of time to make it in an app that one can publish. This is software.
Yep.
And hardware-wise, we are developing especially we are developing more lenses. So without giving too much detail, but there will be some surprise on the macro area. That's an area we would like to invest a lot, because I think it's super cool what one can do. It opens a new world, right? A macro shot is always interesting, because you don't see this with bare eyes, right? So it's a new perspective. So I think it's really, really cool. And also something where we would like to improve is the telephoto, the long focal length area, right? Where I think there is a lot of there are physical constraints that making telephoto lenses difficult, because when the focal length it gets longer, it's difficult. But yeah, we are working to actually improve or make a new telephoto lens or a couple of lenses. Wouldn't mind seeing focus bracketing, exposure bracketing. Okay. Yeah. No. Actually, it's not unreasonable that we might introduce it. This we will introduce it in the Reflex Pro Camera app. We are planning to make a 2.0 with a small refresh in the UI to kind of making it improve what we have around the app. The core functionality works pretty well. We are planning to do a 2.0 where we were planning to do at least exposure bracketing. That's an at least. Focus bracketing. So focus bracketing, it's a bit different because exposure bracketing, you can do it straight out of the sensor. So the sensor doesn't move, right? So and then the sensor can take the same photos, maybe of course slightly delayed in time, but for usual shutter speed, you don't realize that. And then you take three different exposures. But with focus bracketing, there is a physical lens that needs to move. It's a physical element but it can be done. It can be done on a tripod. It can be done. It's more manual programming, but maybe an idea.
There's you could certainly do it manually now. There's enough.
Sure.
There's enough functionality in the app now that you can do it yourself and just stack it in Photoshop or something. Yeah. I think maybe your accent gave some. Didn't quite get it. So what we're saying here is that you're going to have a second app specifically for long exposure raw photos. Is that right?
It is not 100% certain, but I think that's the most likely option. And it's just because otherwise it was extremely difficult to integrate this feature into the current one. And it's just because the technology that is behind the Reeflex Pro Camera now and the one that is required for a raw long exposure, it's different. And to make them communicate, then it's too many cases, and we didn't. Most likely will be a different app.
Well, one of the things that I really like about the app is the full manual control. When I've played with other apps, and that's not quite there, or it's not as intuitive as you would like, that I think that detracts from that a little bit. But when you've got this, so for the long exposure stuff, especially for what I do, to have the ability to just go and do a photo of say 6 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever, and just get that exposure set right, or even for the 1 second, just get that exposure set right, get your focusing right, and then get all those settings, punch them into long exposure, and you're guaranteed to get a good sharp image. That to me is irreplaceable. You must have that. And when you then go and add more and more and more functionality, I totally get that. There's going to be a lot in that app to play with. It's probably too much. But do you want me to show it what you sent me earlier or not?
Yeah, that would be cool. It's the very first proper shot but just to complement that, the new app will have full manual controls, and this is very similar to what is already in there. Oh, yes.
There you go. This is what you sent me earlier today. You want to speak to that?
Yeah, so this is actually Copenhagen, is the main canal that runs through the city. So you can see this is the screenshot of the native photo app, except for the very funny file name that I need to change also in the other app. So you see it's saved from this. It's called in this case it's called Reflex Raw. It's just our prototype. You see, it doesn't even have an icon right now.
Are you looking for a name for it? Are you?
Yeah, we're looking for a name. I don't think we have a name yet.
What do people think? So there's a few people here watching this right now.
Yes, we don't.
You could be naming this app. I'm not saying that you will. But you could be.
It could be.
What do you think?
Absolutely.
What do you think it should be called? This is an app that's doing all the same manual functionality that we have with the Pro Camera app right now. This sucker is going to shoot long exposure raw. What should it be called? Reflex Raw? It's not a bad name, really.
It's not that bad, but maybe we can come up with something better.
Yeah. So if you guys have got an idea, hashtag no Android, but tell us what you think. So this is all the metadata from the phone.
Yeah. So so already in the prototype, the app gives you the metadata, full metadata. So this was shot. So this is a kind of a river. It's a canal running, and it was 2 minutes. 2 minutes exposure time. Let's say so. 2 minutes long. And yeah, I mean, as I said, it's quite ready. I think the results are already promising. But there is a lot of also all other small things around an app, right? The UI and how do you change the manual controls and saving and showing the picture and changing cameras and stuff, that it's taking a little bit time also, because I mean we've been busy with many other things. We just released the new Reflex, a new version of the Reflex Pro Camera, where we also include metadata there in the raw long exposure. We included also different formats, so now you can shoot in TIFF and JPEG.
The Mutt's Nuts, apparently. I'm not sure that's the name that we want. I say the Duck's Nuts, not the Mutt's Nuts. So these guys, pretty much every time I talk to these guys, and we talk probably once a week, wouldn't we, Josh? Roughly. And I reckon every single time that I talk to you guys, I'm like, "Where's Raw? Where's Raw? Where's Raw?" So this morning, when Josh says, "Oh, Salvo's out taking some photos with Raw right now," and then he sent me that, it's like, "You ripper!" That's awesome. And I said, "Send me that file if you can." So they sent that file to me, and I threw it into Lightroom, and the details that I am pulling out of those shadows in this raw file is just freaking ridiculous. This is really, really impressive. To have all those manual controls, and that's for me, that's the key to this, is that the manual controls are just so hands-on. You can change everything, and that. So my background with long exposures with DSLR and filters, and so it's all 100% manual control. And most people who are going to play with, I look at mobile photography in two ways. One, it's something that these days you can take some look at that. You can take some bloody amazing photos just with your phone, and you may never want to go anywhere else from that. But in the other school, I think, is, especially with what I do, it's a stepping stone to getting something bigger. So you got the printing side of things, that you can print like poster size pictures and stuff. So with astrophotography, we're always going to be limited by that physical size of the pixel. So I tell people that mobile photography is a way that you're going to know if you're committed enough to get your ass out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning and go and take those photos. And after the romance of that wears off after a few weeks, you may not want to go and spend all your hard-earned dollars on a pro camera, as in a mirrorless or a DSLR camera. So with both of those people in mind, having full manual control is, in my opinion, for this sort of photo, is so important. It's to be able to just set it up, like I was saying before, that's that test shot, and then put it into long exposure. It's such a time saver. Next time that I'm actually developing at the moment, I'm planning it out, a series of photos that I've taken over the years with my DSLR and mirrorless cameras, and I'm going to try and replicate those on my phone. Some of them are going to be near on impossible, but we'll see how we go. Cameras have come so far on phones, but what I'd really like to be able to do is head back to New Zealand, where I took I basically spent a week taking long exposure photos all over the South Island of New Zealand, and I want to go there again and do the same thing with this app. I reckon that would be bloody awesome. Let's have a look at some of these questions. Are there any plans to add ND filters to the range?
Yeah. So basically, Salvo was mentioning about the pipeline, what we have in the pipeline for when it comes to the hardware. and products, and we were basically planning to release a whole set of filters that are going to be used, launch a whole set of filters that are going to be used with the lenses, mostly like the telephoto, the wide lens, and in the future as well the anamorphic lens, and as well directly onto the phone through universal clip. So we have ND, different sort of types, LCPL, BND. Like there's gonna be, you're gonna see, like, we're expecting to be ready with the development and, let's say, go to sale in June, latest beginning of July here.
Yeah, cool. For those who are in here watching right now, these are all people who take photos with their phones at some degree, some incredibly well, some getting better and better. But all these people watching this are here to listen to what you guys got to say. So those who are watching right now, if you can think of a single bit of kit, an accessory, an option, something like that, to take photos with your phone that you're not happy with what is currently out there, what would it be? I'm curious, because these guys are on the bleeding edge of technology. You know, they're trying to move things forward in this space. So these are some ears here that you probably want to shout some stuff at if you're keen on something. Every time I talk to these guys, it's raw, and there's something else that I ask for almost every time. And I'm not going to say it because someone else will probably say it. But I think it's coming, isn't it?
If it is what I think, the raw app will ship already with that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then maybe when that happens, we'll also introduce it in the other app. Yeah.
Yep.
The raw app.
When that does happen, you guys will you'll definitely see it, because it's something that I want really, really a lot to do. But the night lapses, it'll be bloody awesome.
But can I ask you something, Jay?
Yeah, mate.
When you were stuck the photos, what do you use, and do you align them?
With the intervalometer, you mean?
Yeah.
No. So I'm not. Oh, you could probably, absolutely, you could do that. There's no reason that you couldn't do that. I wouldn't do it on the phone. I want it for the night lapses, for the galactic core moving through the sky. But you can absolutely set it as well to take 20 shots and stack the galactic core. Absolutely. For Mac, there's an app on your Mac, a program on your Mac called Sequitur, or Starry Night. That's on Windows, sorry, and Starry Night Landscape Stacker for Mac, and they both stack for noise elimination.
No, I mean, yes, I was just wondering, because it can be a good idea to. I mean, again, it's ideas, right? But if you have it in the app can give you everything in principle. It can take all the pictures, it can give you the time lapse, and it can give you the stacked. But to stack them, then you have to align them. Otherwise, you get the start rates, right? So that's
absolutely, yeah.
You go up to more than 30 seconds. That's then
that's
also
right.
The galactic core will be misaligned, and maybe it's a mess.
Correct.
I was thinking. I thought that you wanted more shots, so to stack them and to get the picture even less noisy. But
well, I could do that now.
Okay,
I can do that now manually. Yeah. But the intervalometer is all about that night lapse. Is what I can get with a 30-second exposure, and I can get that galactic core in a single frame, not a single frame, but an end photo.
Yeah.
And to be able and to intervalometer that over the course of, say, 5 hours, end up with a heap of photos. That's going to be a first for iPhone. It'll be pretty bloody good.
Yes.
You be careful talking to these groups of people, mate. You're going to end up with your laundry list of work is going to get very long. Zareen. There we go. I haven't heard of that one. An app that stacks and aligns would be would that be enough to get you to come to iPhone there, Mike Goyne? Mike takes some amazing star trail photos. He's Very, very good low light photographer. Very, very good. Cool. Have we covered everything that we wanted to talk about?
I think like basically to summarize what's coming the soonest within the short term, definitely Shane, like the raw specialty app, long exposure is definitely what is in the plan, and the filters. But there's plenty of like things that, I mean, we have somehow like so many different ideas and things. Like I saw some comments like they were suggesting having a carry bag for the lenses. We actually already have a couple of samples ready. So there's going to be a carry bag that is going to be allowing the user to carry all of the lenses together. And it's going to be a TPU shell with EVA foam inside and a waterproof zipper. So there's a couple of things that we're working on at the moment. Obviously, that takes time. Everything takes quite some time, but yeah, there's gonna be most probably also like a carry bag for 2 lenses, so something you can actually clip to your belt, to the backpack, sort of like straps, and so that you can somehow like really in a simple way like just use the lenses.
Cool. There's a suggestion for the app name.
That's cool.
That's pretty funny.
Yes.
So this is the question that everyone hates asking a programmer.
Yeah.
When is it going to be ready?
Yeah, hopefully soon. But yeah, there are. I mean, there are small things that take time. I think, for example, today I've been out testing the motion blur, and the results seems okay. So it seems that I haven't tested yet the start rates, the light rates, and the start rates.
I know somebody who can help you with that.
Yes, I think so. That's still untested. Of course, all the experience we have from the Reeflex Pro Camera helped, because I mean, at least the math is the same. But so I'm counting. So I'm sharing some internal intelligence. I'm counting to have a prototype that I can send for beta testing at the end of this month.
Okay.
It can be, I don't know, first week of June. And depending on how far I get to that prototype, then there is the timeline of releasing it on the App Store. But this is the plan.
Cool. Yep. So you guys, I don't know the process, but I'm sure there was a process of finding your suppliers to make the cases and so forth. So what happens when a new phone comes out? No, Kathy's asking here about if the lenses are recessed. There'll be a way to do it still. It's just they've got to come up with the case.
Recessed it just means that they will become flatter, or that's what she, okay. For every phone there needs a case. There is no way around it. So if iPhone 14 comes out, it will come up with a case for it. And we hope to be quite quick, but the only challenge is that nobody knows officially how the iPhone 14 will look. Not even the manufacturers and the suppliers that we work with. So we design cases for the phones that we have now. But that's the only thing, basically. Anyway, even if the camera will not change so much, Apple never makes phones that are exactly the same. Maybe there is like 2 millimeters more, or the cameras are, and then you need a new case. So that's
It's that when the 12 and 13 came out, the cases physically fit each other, but the buttons were slightly different. So every generation, slight differences.
It's slightly, and if you want to have a clean job, then you need to make a new case. There's no way out.
Here we go. If this app works well, then it will be an amazing game changer. I'd love to do astronomy photos of the stars. I don't have enough. Well, That's absolutely. There's certainly trackers that are out there. I'm talking with someone still at the moment about a tracker for phones. So in theory, I could take multiple minute long photos
Yeah.
on a tracker. So just watch this space. We're heading into that season right now. I haven't got the bit of kit yet. So once I've got it, I've got to do testing and everything. So we'll see how we go.
Mm-hmm.
But you can absolutely do it. If you've got a tracker, there's no reason that you couldn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think Apple releases anything, do they? No.
Officially, they don't do it. Now I cannot believe that that big companies, I don't know, Adobe. Let's talk about software. Maybe they have some contracts with some non-disclosure agreement with big, very big players, because Photoshop needs to be ready as soon as the new Mac comes out. But you also saw it with the M1. Then many companies were not ready. So, but we don't have anything. So we are like we listen to rumors and try to figure out, and it's we don't know.
Yeah,
there are YouTube channels that are specifically made to talk about leaks from software companies, and the stuff that I see on these things. Where did you just write that yourself? Did you go at the back and take that photo with an old Pixel phone or something? They put it out here as an iPhone photo. What did you do? What were you going to say, Josh?
Yeah, I was saying that I think it's worth mentioning that we are working on the development of a new series of phone cases, which is going to be a more sleek design, and it's going to be as well like MagSafe, and there's going to be other features. So I mean, definitely the manufacturers we work with, Savo mentioned, they do not know more than we don't more. I mean, we all do not know anything yet about the iPhone and the new one that is coming up this fall. And but for sure we're gonna be ready for the new one as soon as we're able to somehow.
Yeah. Cool. I think we're done, boys. I think we've jibber-jabbered on for long enough.
Yes.
What do you reckon?
It was very cool.
Actually, now, next time that I speak with you guys, I think you need to be there as well, Salvo, because this is the most I've seen Josh and him not talk.
Yeah. Yes. That was. I was also surprised, actually.
I brought it following your advice. I don't regret it at all. Awesome. Great app, great product. It really is.
Thank you,
I wouldn't
guys.
have brought them on if I thought it was shit. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see some. I've actually found I've been sent a bit of a few different apps from different app manufacturers. Nothing to do with this, but I've got a video coming out on Monday that is going to answer a lot of questions, the same sort of question that I get asked about a lot. It's a very good tool for sorting out your photos at the end of it all. Anyway, you'll see that on Monday. And that's it for today, guys. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for coming on, you two bloody legends. See you later, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.